Welcome to Her Subconscious Blueprint, your no BS space for subconscious healing, bold breakthroughs, and manifestations. I'm Jen Boyd, hypnotherapist, mindset coach, and your new healing hype girl. Okay, let's get into it. Today, I want to talk to you about something that might sound a little weird at first, but stick with me. Once you get it, it will change everything for you. And that is how to talk to your subconscious like it's a 7-year-old. Because I'm not being metaphorical here. Your subconscious mind is kind of like a 7-year-old. It's literal, it's emotional, it's imaginative. It responds to repetition and tone and pictures and feelings. And it really, really wants to please you, even if that means holding you back because it thinks that that is keeping you safe. So let's paint this picture for a second. Imagine you've got this sweet, curious, kind of wild little kid inside you. And that kid is always listening, like always. That kid is watching everything you say, how you say it, what you feel, when you say it, what you repeat the most, and it's creating a blueprint. That blueprint becomes your beliefs, and those beliefs become your habits, your reactions, your financial thermostat, your relationships, your self-image, self-worth, literally everything. So if you're walking around saying things like, ugh, I suck at this, or I always fuck things up, or I'll never be good with money, or nobody ever shows up for me, nothing ever works out for me. Well, guess what? That is exactly what you're going to get. That little 7-year-old hears it, believes it, and goes, okay, got it. That's the rule now. We always fuck up. We're not good with money. People don't show up for us. Copy that, boss. And now that belief is quietly running in the background, like a program on a computer, and it never gets updated unless you intentionally update it. That programming, it just keeps running in a loop. Now, imagine if you were actually speaking those same words to a real 7-year-old child, a child that you deeply love. Imagine looking at them and saying, you're not good enough. You always fuck up. People won't love you unless you're perfect. Oh, can you feel how harsh that is? It makes you want to cry just thinking about it, right? You would never say that to somebody you love. But your subconscious doesn't know the difference between you joking around, being sarcastic, venting, or being realistic. It takes everything personally. It takes everything literally. And it internalizes it. It creates blueprints. This is why I always say your words, they matter. They're not just words. Your words are programming. They are programming your thoughts, and they are instructions. Your words are casting a spell on your reality. And my mentor, Marissa Peer, always has a good way of putting this. She says, your mind is the genie, and your wish is my command. Think about that. Let me give you a real life example from my own journey. Years ago, before I even understood anything about the subconscious and reprogramming, I used to say this thing all the time. If I want something right, I'm going to have to do it myself. Sounds harmless, right? Even kind of empowering on the surface. But when you peel back the layers, it was actually a belief rooted in distrust, in hyper-independence, in feeling like support wasn't available to me. So guess what happened? My subconscious took that as the truth, as gospel. I kept attracting situations and people where I had to do everything myself. People wouldn't follow through. I never got help unless I begged for it. I felt resentful, tired, and unseen. I didn't realize I was reinforcing it every single time I repeated what I thought was harmless, that line. Once I caught it, I started replacing it. I began saying, it's safe to receive support. I'm surrounded by capable, loving people who want to help. And even though it felt awkward at first and uncomfortable, like I was lying to myself, my world slowly started to shift and reflect that new story. That's the power of changing how you speak to that sweet little 7-year-old inside. Your subconscious is always listening, always learning, always trying to follow the instructions and follow the rules. It's like a little sponge, which is why we've got to learn how to speak to ourselves differently. We've got to learn how to talk to ourselves like we would talk to that 7-year-old child that we love and care about so deeply. We have to talk to our subconscious with love and encouragement, clarity, and consistency. Now, let me paint you another familiar picture. Let's say that someone constantly says, I'm just not a numbers person. I hate math. And every time taxes come up or budgeting or even something as simple as splitting a dinner bill, they repeat it like it's a mantra. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not a numbers person. I'm not good with math. Maybe they even laugh it off or use it as a reason to avoid anything financial. But here's the thing. Every time they say it, their subconscious is listening. And not just listening, it's taking notes. Like, oh, okay, got it. We're not a numbers person. Got it. Avoid this stuff. Stay anxious. Don't even try. And so they keep zoning out during money conversations. They keep feeling overwhelmed at the sight of maybe a spreadsheet or a budget or looking at their bank account. And it's not because they're dumb or bad with money, but because their subconscious is just following instructions. Now, imagine one day they catch themselves, and instead of repeating that old line, now they pause and ask, wait, what if I just haven't been taught in a way that feels safe or empowering or even interesting yet? And that tiny shift, it cracks the door open. When you get curious, you start to question its truth, and the interruption happens. They start saying things like, I'm learning how to get better with money, or numbers are starting to make sense. At first, it might feel weird, maybe even fake or a lie. But guess what? The subconscious doesn't care how awkward it feels. It hears the new instructions. And over time, it starts to believe them. That is exactly how manifesting happens. And that is how change begins. Not with perfection, but with a different conversation. The one that speaks gently, clearly, and consistently to that 7-year-old part of you who just wants to feel safe enough to try. You have that same power. So let's get practical. How do you actually talk to your subconscious like it's a 7-year-old? Well, first, just make it simple. Your subconscious doesn't like complicated language or vague instructions. It wants clear, direct messaging. Instead of saying, I wish I could, or maybe someday I'll feel more confident, or when the stars align, that might happen. No, instead say, I am becoming more confident every single day. Boom. Straightforward. That's a green light to your subconscious that your subconscious can follow. Your mind only responds to two things: the words you say and the pictures in your head. Second, speak in the present tense. Remember, Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between past, present, or future. It responds best when you speak like the thing is already true. I am calm. I am safe. I am worthy. Not, I hope I will be worthy someday, or once I do this, I'll be worthy. No, claim it. Own it. That's what gets in. The mind doesn't know the future. Like, oh, one day I'll do this. The mind has no idea what one day means. Third, attach a feeling. Your subconscious speaks the language of emotion. So don't just say you're confident. Feel what confidence would feel like in your body. Picture it, embody it. Wrap your words in the emotional energy of what you're calling in. That is when it lands and sticks. Paint the picture in your mind. What would that confident person wear? How do they speak? Who do they surround themselves with? And start doing that. Fourth is repetition. This is where most people stop too early. They do the affirmation once and expect instant transformation. But a 7-year-old doesn't learn something after hearing it once. Think about when a child starts talking and learning new words. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to say it over and over with love, with conviction until it sinks in and becomes second nature. That is how new beliefs are formed, through repetition with emotion. Your mind is plastic. It can be reformed. You can create new neural pathways, and those that wire together, fire together. And studies show it takes 21 days to form a new habit. And fifth, and this one is huge, stop arguing for your limitations. If you catch yourself saying things like, that's just how I am, I've always been like this, it just runs in my family, those are defense mechanisms. Your ego is using that to protect you. It is protecting you with what's familiar, not what's true. Familiar does not mean true. Familiar just means practiced. And guess what? You can practice something new. You can rewire that programming, but you've got to stop reinforcing the old version of your language. Here is a little exercise that I want to share with you. Write a letter from your adult self to your subconscious. Literally start with, hey, little one, I know you were trying to protect me when you believed this. And fill in the blank. You thought if we stayed small, we'd stay safe. You thought if we avoided money, we wouldn't get hurt. And then you get to rewrite it. You get to reassure her. Tell her the truth now. Tell her we're safe. That we can do hard things, that abundance is available, that we're not that powerless little girl anymore. Write the letter, read it out loud, and then repeat the news story daily. Out loud with emotion. You'll be shocked at how quickly that inner part of you starts to soften and shift. She just wants to be heard. And when you give her that, everything starts to change. And let's talk about where those familiar beliefs even came from. Most of them were formed before we were even 8 years old. Think about that. Some of your strongest, most persistent beliefs were created by a version of you that believed in the tooth fairy, that didn't even have a fully developed brain, that didn't have logic, that could not separate truth from someone else's projection. So when a parent said, we can't afford that, or you're too sensitive, or you'll never be able to do X, your subconscious took that and said, okay, this is reality now. And unless you go back and talk to that little inner 7-year-old and update those beliefs and give her new words to live by, you keep operating from that same outdated software. But you're not 7 anymore. You're the adult now. You're the one in the driver's seat. And this is your permission slip to rewrite it all. I was talking with a friend once and she goes, I have no idea why I keep sabotaging myself. And like literally not even a minute later, she says, I mean, I'm just someone who overthinks everything. And I was like, there it is. You just told your subconscious exactly what to do. You basically handed it the script and said, hey, keep me stuck in overthinking because that's who I am. And then we wonder why we keep repeating the same patterns and feel stuck. That's a thing. Your subconscious is always listening. And when you say something over and over again, especially with emotion behind it, it becomes a belief. It becomes your reality. So if you're constantly declaring what's wrong with you, your mind's going to follow that blueprint every single time. Your mind is going to start looking for proof. So if you want to reprogram your life, start with your language. Start with how you talk to that 7-year-old inside. Be kind, be clear, be repetitive, be encouraging, and most of all, be intentional. Speak to yourself like someone who is loved, like someone who is capable, like someone who's still learning, and that's okay. And if you're still not sure what to say, start with this. I'm learning to love myself more every day. That's it. Start small. Start soft. I'm learning to trust myself. I'm practicing being kinder to myself. And even just noticing when you say something negative is a win. That awareness is you stepping into the role of the loving parent, not the critical voice you inherited, not the old programming you've been running on. Every moment you notice, pause, interrupt, and choose again. That is healing. And this work doesn't require perfection. It requires presence and awareness. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, Jen, this sounds great, but what if I don't believe the new thing yet? And that's fair. I hear you. And here is what I'll say. You don't have to believe it fully right away. You just have to be willing to believe it's possible. That's the door opener. That's the little crack of light that lets in the new programming and starts forming the new beliefs. It's like telling a child, hey, I know learning to ride a bike feels scary right now, but I believe you can do it. I'm here. Let's try it again. You'd never scream at the kid or tell them that they're stupid for falling. You'd reassure them, encourage them, and you'd keep going. That is how I want you to start talking to yourself. Every time you say, I'm so proud of you, your subconscious hears it. Every time you say, I'm safe to try again, your subconscious hears it. Every time you say, we're figuring this out together, your subconscious hears it, and it starts to believe it. So if you've been harsh with yourself lately, if you've been beating yourself up, talking down to yourself, or repeating old limiting stories, today is your invitation to stop, to pause, to try something new. Start talking to yourself like someone who matters, because you do. And listen, this doesn't mean you fake it. This doesn't mean you gaslight yourself into toxic positivity. This means you speak to the part of you that's scared with love, not judgment. You meet your subconscious with curiosity and not criticism. You become the nurturing, grounded voice that maybe you didn't always hear growing up, but you can offer it to yourself now. Because that 7-year-old inside you, she's listening, she's learning, and she's waiting for you to tell her a better story. One that sounds like, you're doing great. You're allowed to make mistakes. You are learning something new. You're safe now. You're worthy. You're lovable. You're not broken. We're figuring this out one loving word at a time. And that is how you change your inner world. And when you change your inner world, your outer world can't help but reflect that. So if you take anything from this episode, let it be this. Your words, they matter. The way you talk to yourself is either keeping you stuck in old patterns or setting you free from them. Your subconscious doesn't need logic. It needs repetition, emotion, and clarity. Talk to it like you would a child you love, with patience, with belief, and with intention. That is how we start to rewire the story. And if that's all you get from this episode, that would be enough. Because when you become the loving voice in your own life, that's when you become unstoppable. And I am so full of love and gratitude that I get to share my story with you. This is Her Subconscious Blueprint, where we don't just chase the dream, we become it. And remember, you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So go out and be that version of her today. Much love and gratitude. I will see you next time.